What is going on, guys? It's your boy Slick, and today we're going to be talking about an interesting topic. That is Germany versus America in top tier and what they do. So I've never really done a comparison video of top tier. I've kind of just spoken about what I think is the best and what I enjoy. There's no doubt that the Leopard is my favorite tank in the game. Germany is my favorite top tier nation to play, and I really enjoy them. But there is a couple differences between Germany and America. Now, the only other nation that you can really compare to Germany and America is Russia. All three of these nations have helicopters that have ATGMs, decent ground and pounders, and really good top tier MBTs. No other nation has like the versatility and the depth in their lineups as those three nations. If you want to see another one of these videos where I talk about maybe Russia versus both Germany and America, maybe I'll do that in the future, and we could even do this at different tiers and whatnot. But today we're specifically talking about 10.0 and my 10.0 lineups, what I use, and what I enjoy doing. So we'll start with Germany because it's all the stuff has been in the game for a little while. There's nothing really new that has changed up with my lineup, and I really enjoy it. Now with the coming MiG-19S, I think it can only make them stronger. So my German lineup is the Leopard 2A4, the Leopard 2K, a MiG-15 with Tiny Ivans, a bow, either the premium or the one I'm grinding. I have the PAH with the 3 hots, but not the top tier one. I'll bring a Gepard and some type of maybe IFV or some type of other tank, but usually it's the Leopard 2, Leopard 2K, and then the bow, the MiG, and a Gepard if I need it. Now my American lineup, on the other hand, is 2 Abrams, so the IP, the A or the M1, and then we have the Sergeant York, the F100, either an Apache or not Apache, either a Cobra or a Huey with ATGMs, or if I'm using the Cobra, I use the 76 Hydras, and that is a really good lineup as well. I'm grinding the Bradley, and I think the Bradley might go in that lineup too. I think I have a space for it, so that would be a 6 tank or 6 vehicle lineup, I believe. But you know, basically both of these nations play the same, and I know that's hard to say, but they do. They do play very similar. Now, the only difference between the top tier MBTs, obviously, is reload time, I would say. Now, there are small similarities and small differences with all the MBTs across this game. They all have decent armor protection. They can all bounce shots. They can all kill every top tier tank in the game. But some tanks require a little more or less aiming to deal with it. So, obviously, America versus Germany, there's a couple issues with that. We have the AH-1Z, which is a far superior helicopter to anything Germany offers, just because of its potential ground and pound capabilities. Like, these are helicopters, but they still ground and pound, right? You know, you can get 16 Hellfire, 16 toes, and you will absolutely wash a battlefield clean if you get the opportunity. Now, on top of that, you also get air-to-air missiles. The AIM-9Ls, I believe, are on the AH-1Z. Comparatively, for Germany, I would say the best helicopter in the tech tree is actually the Mi-24P. This can also get air-to-air missiles. It gets 4 ATGMs and gun pods or whatever else you want to put on it. Now, I would suggest using this or grinding for this as a German helicopter. I don't have it yet, but I can tell you that it probably would perform better than the bows. The bows have no defensive armament, and while they are small and very maneuverable and very quick and super fun to play, I think that type of helicopter plays better in sim, but we're talking strictly RB here. Also, if you guys would like to see a sim video on this topic, let me know in the comments down below. Now, as far as top tier tanking goes, the Abrams versus the Leopard is an interesting debate. They both have strengths and they both have some weaknesses, but the weaknesses on both of these vehicles are very small. Now, you take the Leopard, for example. We could say that the armor on the Abrams is better. I would say it's pretty well known, right? The armor on the Abrams is possibly the best setup for a top tier tank. It's the way the crew is sat, the way the blow-off panels work, and whatnot. It's just really tough to kill in certain situations. On top of that, it's very fast, and it has that 5-second flat reload. Now, what you get with the Leopard is a 120 mil. Now, to people who haven't used that doesn't make a difference to you. But if you use the 120, you might prefer that over the 105. I do. I just like the extra hitting power. It feels like it one-shots a little bit more, and that can mean life or death for you. In the Abrams, sometimes I find myself hitting a tank more than once, unless it's Russian most of the time. I have to hit a tank more than once to kill it, which turns a 5-second reload into a 10-second kill, which it could just be a 6.7-second kill in the Leopard, or a 6 flat second kill in the Leopard, which you start to understand once the kills start to stack and enemies start to pile up, that 1 second difference in reload doesn't mean too much unless you one-shot. It only means a lot when you one-shot, because the more tanks that are coming towards you, you have to hit them harder. You want to hit them harder. I just think the 120 is a safer bet. On top of that, the Leopard has a limitation of 16 rounds, at least the 2A4. Because if you don't bring 16 rounds, like the guy that I just shot in this game did, I actually don't know if that'll be in this part, but I shot a Leopard and he didn't have the ammo rack full. So I wasted a shot on him and he killed me. And that's a thing that you can do in the Leopard. You can only bring 16 rounds, but you will lose an ammo rack and you will have virtually the same crew spacing as the Abrams. Not exactly the same, but the protection works out a little bit better in that fashion, which I really enjoy. But 1-to-1 against each other, I mean, it's just the difference of a 120 mil with a second longer reload. I wouldn't say the armor feels that much different between the Leopard 2A4. Now, we have the 2K, though, versus the M1, so to speak. Now, the Leopard 2K is a little bit different because some people enjoy that more than the 2A4 because of its 20 mil on top. And I do think the 20 mil is super functional. You can knock out guns, you can knock out lightly armored vehicles, AAs, helicopters, planes, anything that's flying, you can one-shot it. The 20 mil is really, really good for that type of situation. You can get good shots on target and really pester people. But again, it's the same 120. It's got a good round, a good gun. Doesn't get the same rounds as the 2A4, but you know, you got to use what you get, right? As far as planes go, I definitely think the F-100D is the best ground and pounder right now. The MiG-19S might take that role. It depends how good the rocket pods it gets are, in my opinion. I don't think the one bomb drop is going to be enough to outweigh the potential 4 kills you could get with the F-100D in a ground forces match. So I like running the bullpups with 2 bomb drops, and it's a really good setup. The plane is fast enough to where it doesn't feel super sluggish while it's moving around with all that weight on it. You could still kill planes and whatnot. The AGMs, I've been messing around more with them. I know a lot of people gave me shit because I don't guide them. I usually just dummy fired them. So I've been guiding them a little bit more, and yeah, you guys are right. They're really nice to click on some tanks from far away. I think it's great. In terms of anti-air guns, or SPAAG, it's a tough competition. Now, I'm not going to say the 163 is in this race. I would say it's going to be the Sergeant York versus the Gepard. I personally like the Gepard better than a stock Sergeant York, but I've never used the Sergeant York with the self-exploding rounds or the proximity fuses. So take that with a grain of salt. It might be just a better AA gun. I have no idea. I do like the Sergeant York. I like how fast it fires. I like how it has a good spread, but the Gepard will always hold a special place in my heart. I've been able to kill tanks with that thing for patch after patch after patch, regardless of how many AP rounds it gets. It always seems to kill things. It always seems to be a very, very fine line between a tank killer and an AA gun. Sometimes it just feels like it can take over a match. So I don't know realistically what is better, right? Because I don't have both of them spaded. I only have the Gepard spaded and aced. So you guys could let me know again down below what you think of the Sergeant York. Do you think it's better than the Gepard? But personally, I say they're pretty comparable for what they do. The Gepard has a good range, good spread. Again, I think it's better at killing tanks, and also it doesn't really obstruct your vision that much. The Sergeant York is a very, very big vehicle. The antenna is huge, and in certain perspectives, you kind of can't see around anything into the air. So that's that. I mean, AA isn't the biggest factor, of course. I'm sure we're going to get better AA as the jets get faster, helicopters get crazier and stuff. But for now, I would say the Gepard wins in my heart, but Sergeant York obviously isn't spaded, so take it with a grain of salt. Now we have IFVs. We have the Bradley, and I would say the Bagel Panzer, right? So the Bradley versus the Bagel Panzer. It's a tough decision because Bradley has a stabilizer and it gets tows, but it gets 2 firings of a tow, right? You can launch them twice, but they're not the good missiles. Now the Bagel Panzer, on the other hand, gets very, very good missiles. It gets HOTS, and it gets a better gun, I would say. So I would say this goes to the Bagel Panzer. Now I don't have the Bradley yet, so again, speaking on this, it's tough. But having had I have the Warrior, I have the BMPs, and I have the Type 89, and I would just say that I think in terms of killing other tanks, both the Bradley and the Bagel Panzer have a similar chance with their ATGMs. As far as killing each other, the Bagel Panzer would kill the Bradley more than the Bradley would kill the Bagel Panzer. But I could be completely wrong about that. It's just a matter of where you are, how you catch the enemy, and whatnot. But neither of them really have armor. Neither of them are super slow. They're pretty decently mobile. They can move around the map and such. And they're both pretty good IFVs. They're pretty comparable. And that leads me to my entire point. Both nations are pretty damn good at top tier, and the only difference is what you're matchmaked with, what map you're on, and the type of teammates you get. That's all a gamble anyway that the game will randomly give you. So I don't know. I think both nations are pretty comparable. I think the Abrams kind of wins in the MBT department, and I think that America definitely has a better Air Force capability, better air to ground, better air to air. But I think Germany, it doesn't fall that much farther behind. Now, if you guys enjoyed this style of video, if you enjoyed me talking about the top tier nations, the vehicles I play in those nations, and how I think they stack up to the competition, again, let me know in the comments down below. Maybe tell me if you want Russian versus America, or you want 8.0, or you want to see 5.7. We can maybe make this into a series where we talk about BRs and the opposing nations. Maybe I could also make them all into one video. Maybe a little bit longer of a video, but we'll talk about all nations at one tier and compare them all together. So thank you guys for watching. I will see you in the next one. Deuce, deuce.